You're now watching Q News. Here are the top stories for this hour. An Israeli airstrike on Beit Lahia town in the northern Gaza Strip has killed at least 16 Palestinians and injured others. Israeli fighter jets conducted an airstrike that targeted the mourners who gathered to offer condolences for Palestinians killed in the Salatin area in Beit Lahia. Israel unilaterally ended the Gaza ceasefire agreement and resumed its aggression on the Strip on Tuesday, March 18th, carrying out a wave of bloody airstrikes across the Strip and killing hundreds of Palestinians, including over 100 children. A foreign national has been killed and at least 5 others were wounded in an Israeli airstrike on the site of a United Nations headquarters in central Gaza City. The executive director of the UN Office for Project Services said the UN compound is located in a deconflicted zone well known by the Israeli forces. Da Silva added that the UN does not yet know what type of artillery was used and is investigating it. The leaders of France and Jordan have called for a halt of hostilities in Gaza and a political solution to the conflict. Jordan's King Abdullah II called for the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza to be restored and for aid flows to resume. French President Emmanuel Macron said that negotiations between Israel and Hamas over the crisis in Gaza had to be back on the table. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has voiced his deep concern over Israel's renewed bombardment of the Gaza Strip. Starmer told the House of Commons he is deeply concerned about the resumption of Israeli military action in Gaza. He pledged that the UK would do all it could to ensure the resumption of the ceasefire to get aid that's desperately needed into the Strip. Yemen's Houthis have fired a ballistic missile towards Ben Gurion airport near Tel Aviv. The group's military spokesperson said for the 5th day in a row, they continue to effectively and responsibly confront the American aggression against Yemen. Israel's occupation military has said it intercepted a missile launch from Yemen as hostilities with the Houthis intensified. Sirens sounded in several areas in Israel after the projectile was fired, the military said. The Israeli police said sirens were heard in Tel Aviv and occupied Jerusalem. Israel's ambulance services said no serious injuries were reported. The United States has struck targets in Yemeni capital of Sana'a. This is the latest in a wave of strikes carried out in retaliation for attacks by the group on shipping in the Red Sea. In a video released by the U.S. Central Command, fighter jets were seen taking off from an aircraft carrier from an unidentified location, as the U.S. said it is continuing its operations against the Houthis. U.S. President Donald Trump has said that Iran must immediately stop sending military supplies to the Houthis. In a post on Truth Social, Trump added that U.S. strikes on the Houthis will get progressively worse and that they will be annihilated. His comments come less than a week after U.S. airstrikes took out some of the group's top leaders. The U.S. said the strikes were made because of attacks by the group on ships in the areas. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has announced his support for U.S. President Trump's push for a limited ceasefire with Russia. Zelensky said in a statement that Ukrainian and U.S. officials will resolve technical issues related to implementing and expanding the partial ceasefire. The U.S. had proposed that both sides halt attacks on energy facilities and infrastructure as a first step towards a broader peace deal. The Kremlin has said that Russia had suspended its attacks on Ukrainian energy infrastructure after a phone call between President Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump, and had shot down its own Ukraine-bound drones while they were in the air. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told reporters that Russia has called off a drone attack on Ukrainian energy infrastructure targets and had shot down 7 of its drones. Peskov in turn accused Ukraine of not respecting the 30-day moratorium on striking each other's energy infrastructure and said it had tried to attack Russian energy infrastructure overnight. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has said that he and his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump discussed an energy strike ceasefire with Russia. Zelensky said Ukraine would draw up a list of facilities that could be subject to a partial ceasefire brokered by the United States. Zelensky said he and Trump also discussed only the vast Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in southeastern Ukraine during the phone call. He added that he told Trump that Kiev would be ready to discuss U.S. involvement in modernizing and investing in the nuclear plant if it is returned to Ukraine. The White House has announced that it has moved beyond the previously negotiated U.S.-Ukraine minerals and natural resources deal. White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt has said that the U.S. is shifting its focus on securing peace between Ukraine and Russia. In a statement following an hour-long call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, the White House said Zelensky expressed gratitude for U.S. support. It also noted that technical teams will meet in Saudi Arabia in the coming days. Leavitt added that Zelensky requested additional air defense support to protect civilians from Russian attacks. Trump assured him that he would help locate the necessary equipment in Europe. This concludes our top stories for this hour. Many thanks for watching and goodbye.